Welcome to the Experience Local and our guest, Kris Mannale.
Hello, and welcome to the Experience Local with Russ and Scott. Each week, they bring you conversations with local Christian businesses and business owners. The Experience Local is brought to you each week by wonderful sponsors.
Albany Area Habitat for Humanity. Learn how you can be involved at albanyareahfh.org. Or visit them at the Restore, 1225 6th Street Southeast in Albany. Independent Merchant Brokers. Low-cost and no-cost debit and credit card processing. 877-460-4747. IndependentMerchantBrokers.com. Boson Hub Digital Development encourages you. Join in supporting Walk to End Alzheimer's. ALZ.org. Adams Rib Smokehouse, 1210 State Street, Salem, Oregon. 503-362-2194. AdamsRibSmokehouse.com. Discover Oregon Real Estate. Tim Riss on the web at DOR-LLC. Find your people, find your home.
And now, your hosts for the Experience Local, Russ and Scott.
And here we are.
Hey.
Welcome to the Experience Local, live with Russ and Scott. We are ready to roll this morning on this Monday morning. How you doing, Scott?
Yeah, it's great. It's just been a beautiful weekend. A little warm, but the mornings are just perfect.
Oh, my goodness. You bet. And, this weekend we were away at the coast and it was even more perfect. Not only did we have amazing weather over there, but it was like 20 degrees cooler than it was here.
Yeah, I saw you with your hoodie and the hoodie in position there. So,
yes,
you often use hashtag Russ Selfie. I think maybe there's hashtag Russ Hoodie.
There could be. Yeah, I am a hoodie guy for sure. The beautiful thing about Oregon mornings is I usually can still wear a hoodie even in the hottest parts of summer because it's usually cool in the morning. So,
well, I'm gonna put this out there. A buddy of mine, Ted Rubin, he always posts these Ted Socky photos, right? And he just wears wild socks. Well, I don't think he ever has to buy socks ever again because people just send him all these great pairs of socks. I think people should send Russ a hoodie, and then you can get a hashtag Russ Selfie, hashtag Russ Hoodie, and get your hoodie posted all over the web, around the world, around the globe. Do it right here. Send it to Russ.
There you go. Well, we are blessed with thousands and thousands of people that watch us, Scott and I, and in all of our connections through social media. So if you want to send me a hoodie, I won't turn it away. And I will definitely take a hashtag Russ Selfie, hashtag Russ Hoodie for sure. But anyway, no, I'm excited. That just shows my personality. I'm a very relaxed guy, and that is how God created me. And that's the thing I love about this show, Scott. We talk to believers in business, and we get to talk to people and find out what God is doing through their lives, what value he's adding to the world and to other people through them and through their local business, right?
Absolutely. It's the great thing about the Experience Local, believers in business. Today's guest, Kris Mannale of Fitzpatrick Painting and Construction. Tim has been a guest, and great to have Kris here today. But a lot of people get concerned about the world and wonder where it's going. But I'll tell you, you can get inspired by what the believers in business are doing right here in our community.
Oh my goodness, for sure. In Oregon and even Southwest Washington, where we reach out to with this show, it is amazing. The local believers that are doing amazing things like Kris in their business. And like you said, we had already talked to the owner of Fitzpatrick Painting, Tim, before, and Construction. Thank you. Tim is an amazing guy, and Kris is also an amazing individual. We're going to get him in, but before we do that, I just want to remind everybody that if you want to do something really cool, subscribe to our YouTube page at the experience.video. Why is that cool? Because we are just starting to grow that page, and there is amazing amazing people. We, like Scott would say, have the most remarkable guests like Kris today. And so there are just hundreds of people on there. If you go to the experience.video, that you will gain a blessing from. Also, you can go to, Scott created this wonderful little landing page, local.theexperience.video. Find out more about Scott and I, about our main experience show, The Experience Live with Russ and Scott, on Wednesdays at 7 a.m. Pacific time. And so there's a lot of stuff going on, but I just want to encourage you today to check that out and to join our YouTube page. And there's great things going on. But I think it's time to get Kris in the room. What do you think, Scott?
Yeah, let's find out what's going on with Kris in his world.
Let's do it. Everybody, welcome our guest, Kris Mannale. Hey, Kris.
Hey, how's it going?
We are awesome. Yeah, it is a good morning. The sun is shining, and I am excited for the day. I'm one of those guys, Kris, that loves Mondays. It's an exciting time. You get the week started. I love it. How about you?
A rare breed. I also like Mondays. I do. Gets me a chance to get away from the kids. I mean, that's not what I meant. My wife doesn't listen to this at all, so this is fine. No, I do actually like Mondays. I enjoy coming to work. I think that has a big part to do with whether or not you enjoy your Mondays, huh?
Well, for sure. If you love your job, and speaking of your job, why don't you give us a little rundown? Who is Kris? What are you all about? You and your business. Give us a little snapshot.
Sure. Yeah. So, Kris Mannale. Let's see, local for the last, what has it been now? Since 2018, I've lived in Oregon with my wife, and we've got 4 kids. Oldest is 12 now, and the youngest is 3. So a little bit of a gap there. I've been working with Fitzpatrick Painting and Construction for the last 3 years. Absolutely love it. Before then, I was working for the state doing some case management with senior and disability services. Thought that was really going to fit my style there, because you get to serve a population that oftentimes gets overlooked. It seems to be more paperwork than people work, though. So actually now working for a painting and construction company, I'm finding it much more fits the trajectory I want my life headed, not just for my career, but also personal goals. So it's been great. I love the team here. I really align with Tim, who you had on your podcast. How long ago was that? Was that 2 months ago or so? 2-3 months ago?
That'd be about right. So.
Yeah. I still haven't caught the episode. I got to go back and listen to it and see if he made fun of me the way I'm going to make fun of him today. But but no, I really do. I love working here. There is a gospel-centric theme in a painting company, and that's uncommon. That's unheard of, and some people may even be offended by that. But it's here, and it's living, and it's cool. I really enjoy it. You asked a little bit about me and what I do here. I'm the business relations manager. So that title might be a little bit outdated. I think marketing director might fit a little bit better right now, but I do get in some business development hours. So I'm out meeting people. I'm trying to be strategic with who I speak to, and try to find some new opportunities for the business. My chief goal is we've got so much work in the summer times as a painting construction business in the Pacific Northwest, but my goal is to keep us busy in interior season, to keep food on the tables of our guys. At that time, it's all about our guys and keeping them in work and paint. So that's where I come in.
Well, Kris, it's great to have you here on the show. Kris Mannale of Fitzpatrick Painting and Construction. I remember when Fitzpatrick made that change and added construction, it made a lot of sense. I used to paint houses when I was in college, and there's always repair work to be done. And why bring someone else in when you guys can do that yourself? Let's get a little expansion of what does it mean, the construction side, painting, interior, exterior, commercial, residential, so forth. But let's talk a little bit about the overall services that Fitzpatrick offers.
Sure. Yeah. So, I mean, you're right. Painting is a little bit more self-explanatory. It's the residential and the commercial side, and there's really nothing we can't do. We don't do a lot of new construction paint, just because you're typically not looking for quality at that point. You're looking for somebody that's going to spray and pray, and yeah, we'll take the second half, but we're not doing them together. And then the construction piece there is it's construction that supports the painting teams for the most part. But we do have quite a large construction arm. So right now we're running, I want to say it's 14 guys, so about 6 to 7 crews out in the field. It could be anything from replacing or fixing dry rot to replacing windows, doors, trim, floors, decks, fences, all of the above. We don't do a whole lot of new builds in terms of from the ground up, build you a home, but we could. We'd have to bring in some of the electrical, plumbing, the specialty trades there. In fact, we're doing a new build right now at one of the golf courses nearby. But yeah, for the most part, that construction arm looks like the decks, the fences, the windows. We do a lot of windows, a lot of siding, and the guys are great at it.
Yeah, I love the fact that your owner, Tim Fitzpatrick, and the whole culture of your company is such a family-oriented culture. And I think that is so important today. People, you talked about loving to go to work, right? And I think that it's so important to treat your employees right and really make them feel like they're part of something. And I know that that's something that is important to you and drew you because you have a big family. Talk a little bit about that with Fitzpatrick Painting, and then you can just skip on to any comments you have about your own family too, because I know that's really important to you.
So yeah, it is a cool dynamic. So Tim, definitely a family man, and definitely even interjects himself into his employees' lives when he sees room for growth in their family as well. Are you getting home on time? There was a season where I was so busy, and I'm just not a complainer, and so I stayed busy for a very, very long time, too busy. And Tim found out how late I was staying at the office at some point, and I'm salaried, so it's not like he's paying me more for this. I was just doing it. And he took me aside and he's like, Kris, we have to have a serious conversation. I thought I was in trouble. He's just like, stop doing this. What can I take? And he personally, until we could find other people to take the tasks, he took them on himself. He said, what projects can I take? And I gave him a couple. Okay, what else? Give me more. This is not going to get you out of the office on time. I want you home for dinner every night, which I thought was very, very cool. It's just not the conversation you expect to have when you're brought into the owner's office, right? But that is Tim, and I know he's that way with his own family. He values the quality time. He and Kelly work together in the business. Kelly's an interior designer, colorist. I'm probably botching the title there, but she does some fantastic work, just kind of setting up a vision with customers for what this could look like if they went a certain direction. And then Devin, his oldest son, is now working with the company as an estimator. So everybody just kind of seems to be filtering in. It's fun to watch. Devin, it might be our youngest estimator, but he can hang with the big dogs just the same. And he's got dad in his corner, which is cool to watch. So yeah, definitely a family-centric business, and not just the owner's family. I think sometimes we see that where the owner's very, very serious about their own family time, but no, he's serious about family in general.
Cool. I love that integration between business and family and faith, and that's what Believers in Business is all about. And Kris Mannale of Fitzpatrick Painting and Construction is our guest today. Kris, it's fun to have you here. And I was just thinking back, Devin. I actually coached Devin in Pop Warner football way back in the days, and then Tim's daughter, I coached her in track, so it's fun.
Oh wow.
Have those connections and kind of watch them moving along, and in the integration. Your kids are young, so you're probably not integrating them into the business yet. But let's talk about some of the thoughts of how can you integrate your family, faith, and career together.
Yeah, good question. Your family, faith, and career. So one thing that I've noticed, I used to work at a ranch with, it was a program for troubled teens. so this is very off topic. I understand that, but we'll bring it back around here. I used to work at this ranch, troubled teens, and it seemed sometimes that nothing can get through to them. It seemed that nothing I could offer was of value to them sometimes, and the rest of the staff felt that as well. And what I started to notice is that when I brought my daughter, who was very young, our firstborn, when I brought her in, all the barriers came down, all the walls came down. I didn't have to try to engage with these troubled youth. They lined up at the door. They wanted that time with kids, and I think we miss how much our family can open doors for us, whether it's your kids, your spouse. Sometimes the best way to open a door is not to open it yourself and not even to try. It's to get your family involved, right? And when people see a family involved with each other, having fun, for instance, this comes to play now at my current job. We're trying to be a light throughout our day, no matter where we find ourselves any given day, right? I find myself quite a bit at work. And so how does work and my faith and my family overlap? I think a lot of it is the opportunities we find for our family to join us at our work, if at all possible, and inspire us for work. So my family has a goal each month to try to come by the office, and if it's bring me lunch and just hang out and eat with us in the office here. And they're cute kids, so it works out pretty well. And people want to talk to them, which is real fun. And they can see where dad works, and they can see who's dad, who is dad talking about when he gets home. When I bring home some funny stories or anecdotes from the office. So they love it. The workplace loves it. And then it gives you just one more thing. Oftentimes at work, we tend to only talk about work, and there's no context outside of work for you to connect on. And so that's been fun. And my kids, one way that we bring it home, so that's how you bring it to work. How we bring it home is my kids. I don't know how this started, and it seems funny, and I understand that, but they've got this mason jar at home that they fill with popsicle sticks. And on each popsicle stick, they're like the large ones, like the tongue depressors. And on each popsicle stick, they write down prayer requests. And they've got, I don't know, tens, maybe 100 by now. I don't know. But they write down prayer requests as they come up. So when something pressing happens and we know that we need to be praying for this for a time, they'll write it down on the popsicle stick. And every morning they wake up, they draw a popsicle stick. Everybody's got a popsicle stick, and they pray for that thing. Sometimes it's multiple. And so as they're meeting people at work, they're understanding who we're praying for at home as well. So that's a cool dynamic that we love.
Yeah. I love that, Kris. It just sounds like a book title. Right, popsicle stick prayer.
Popsicle stick prayer. Yeah, that's my list.
There you go. Book in the writing. Scott's good at inspiring that. Kris, you better write that down. This is one thing that I want to just add on to what you're saying. I think it's so important. What you're talking about is to really, make everything you do part of your family. You spend so much time at work, and it's great to have the kids there and for them to know what you do. I think it really integrates them more. And when you do have busy days, they understand that dad's got a little bit of work to do, but then also makes them feel special when you're rushing to get together with them and spend family time. And as they grow, Kris, from a guy who has 2 grown children that are not so much children anymore at 34 and 31, that makes an impact on them. That makes an impact on them through their life. And I think that this can really, back to their faith, I think that this can really impact them, because I think that when you have a good work ethic, I was reading in Colossians this morning about doing all things as to the Lord, right? We work as to God each day in our life. And I think that they see that work is part of the life, but when they see that through you, it's so much more than you say, but it's what you do, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. In fact, my oldest daughter, she's at this point now. I hear people talk about when their kids get into the teens or just prior, they become what somebody was just telling me the other day, you gotta watch out. That your oldest daughter's getting to that age where she's gonna become, what did he say? Fresh or sassy? Sassy was the word. She's gonna become sassy, and she's always been sassy. But it's a fun sassy. But what I've noticed is she now understands that she has license to talk to me like an adult. She can speak to me and she can call me out on my junk. And it sounds terrible when I say it that way, but I love it. I absolutely love it because she understands that she now has a voice where she can encourage me in my faith, and she can point out when things need to change, or when I'm spending too much time at work, when I'm not spending enough time in prayer and in scripture. And she has recently. She has told me that. She's like, Dad, you get a little off track. You got to get back on it. And I loved it. She was nervous, and I think she now knows, like, that's going to be some of our best conversations, is when you kick my butt over what I'm not seeing, because whether it's consumed at work or in my hobbies or whatnot.
Mm-hmm. You know, what great stories. Kris Mannale of Fitzpatrick Painting and Construction, the guest today on The Experience Local, believers in business. And for folks that have been around here in the Valley, may have seen the Fitzpatrick name on billboards and trailers lift around in strategic spots on sports fields. And Kris, you're responsible for a lot of the messaging that's out there. Can you talk about Fitzpatrick's involvement in the community, not just the advertising, but kind of the involvement?
Yeah, well, I'm really glad you brought that up. I think sometimes we've heard it. So we will at times be attacked by the community, maybe competitors or whatnot, because we do a lot in the community, and it seems like a show sometimes. And I understand. I completely get it. I think it's because Tim is so ridiculous in how well he gives. It really does just look like a marketing scheme or PR. And I will tell you, even though I'm a marketing guy, I'm not the author of a lot of what's being done in terms of the give back projects. That is Tim's part. He is, in fact, if I miss a billboard deadline, I didn't get a billboard up in time. Okay, well, let's get up as soon as possible, and it has happened. If I miss getting enough people where we use all of our budgeted hours for our give back projects, where we are in people's homes, blessing them, that's where Tim kind of gets on my case. Like, what? Well, why didn't this happen? So what are we going to do with the hours left over? Well, we got to do more next month. And he cares so much for the community. Last year, the city of Sweet Home got in touch with us. The city manager, Kelsey, who I believe is moving on to another city now, but at the time, their team was fired up, amped up to try to get that city which is in disrepair, and much of the city, at least the paint, give it a facelift, so that when the community pulls through to get to the Cascades there, they have a reason to stop. It's a beautiful city again. They said, we have no budget, but Miller Paint just gave us a paint donation. So we've got enough paint for the town. We just don't have anyone to do it. So we're going to have volunteers. And Tim said, no, you're not. That's silly. Have the volunteers do the back of the buildings if you want, and the sides. I'm sure some of them are great. They can join us on the front, but our teams are going to come in there and do the fronts. Well, we don't have the money. That's fine. Well, this is on us. And I couldn't believe it. I don't think he understood what he agreed to when he said that. Actually, I'm positive he didn't sit there and do the math immediately on what that would cost him. And at the end of the year, looking back at it, it's like, there's no way this kind of stuff makes sense on paper, but it makes sense when you know Tim. And I think, Russ, you know Tim well, and Scott, it sounds like you've known Tim for a while. Anybody listening who knows Tim Fitzpatrick, I think it makes sense to you. But to anybody looking in, of course, this looks like a marketing scheme. That doesn't make sense. No business does that. At least 4 projects a month is our goal for our Fitzies for a Cause, which is even more on central on Tim's heart. Fitzies for a Cause. We asked ourselves if we had to pick our passion and really drill down, so that we're actually affecting change in the community and not just going broad and wide and being a drop in the bucket. If we wanted to drill down, where would that be? And Tim said, well, I just sat through a sermon where they were talking about widows and orphans I don't know how we'd identify the orphans that need paint, but maybe if we identify the widows and the single mothers, that would be a good start. And so that's what we've done. And so every month we try to pick out at least 4 projects where we can go and send guys for the day. It's no cost. Their nominations are always open. In fact, if you're listening to this and you know a widow or an orphan in need of some help, physical help, could be painting, it could be yard work, anything that we're able to do. Our team, we don't have electricians, we don't have plumbers on the team, but if we can do it, we'd love to help provide that free labor. And yeah, I mean, one of the videos on the website was a woman. She was dying to give us a shout out. I don't think she had a social media or I forget the situation. So she said, just take a video now. So we took a video over and she was just so emotional over it.
Wow.
Could not believe that there's a company out there that would go out of their way to try to find her, let alone provide the service for free.
Yeah.
And that's what Fitzpatrick is trying to be in the community.
You know, I love that because I do know Tim's heart and your heart. And I know that as my father-in-law used to always say, you can't outgive God. And so giving to other people, it doesn't really matter if it makes sense on paper right now. If God is calling you to do that and to reach out to others, he will make a way. And God, you got that special God math, right? It just all seems to work out at the end of the year. And so yeah. Hey, listen, in our last couple of minutes give us your gold nugget of our conversation today. We want to wrap this up and then tell everybody how they get in touch with you, the best way to contact you.
Gosh, the gold nugget, man. You know, I do have a gold nugget. This is just something that I've been stewing on. And it sounds like how much time do we have left? Just so I know I'm not going over here.
You have a couple of minutes. Yeah.
Okay. I'll try to keep it short, but gold nugget. I was just thinking about this last night after I sat in on a sermon. It was the woman who was caught in adultery in John. Oh gosh, it's chapter 8. Her accusers come with stones in hands, trying to trap Jesus, seeing if he's going to stone this lady, because that's what the law said we ought to do, right? And he says, after writing something in the sand and looking up and saying, "Hey, if you've got no sin, go ahead and you throw the first one. We'll all follow." And they walk away one by one. And he says, "Where are your accusers? I don't condemn you either." She's able to walk away in peace and I'm assuming a new sense of purpose. The thought that I've been wrestling with is Revelation chapter 12. It talks about how Satan is the accuser, and read it. I think it's verse 10. He's the accuser and he accuses the believers day and night. It's his full-time job. That's what he's devoted himself to. It's his greatest scheme. If it wasn't, why would he devote himself day and night? That's what he does. And if we believe that, we get so weighed down in that we don't feel that we are worthy of the true purpose that God has for us. You were created. At the end of the day, a created thing has a purpose, and you were created. And Satan will all day and night try to convince you that you are not worthy, that your past somehow precludes you from living today, resting in the promises of God and working today toward the purposes of God. And in stark contrast, that was Revelation 12. In Hebrews 12, God says, no, look to Jesus. He's the founder. He's the perfecter of your faith.
Amen.
You can look at your past.
That is a gold nugget, Kris.
Right. And I would just say, for anybody struggling in their family and business, so often we can feel defeated and what hope do we even have to carry on? Just give up. If you're feeling that today, I'd encourage you to reach out to me, because I gave Satan a lot of ammo in my life, and I'm sure a lot of us have. He's got a lot to go off of, and we're not yet defeated. We're only defeated if we choose to allow Satan to win that argument.
Thank you, Kris.
Yeah, I just want to say, just for time's sake, everybody go to Kris Mannale at fitzpatrickpainting.com. Is that right, Kris? Did I say it right?
Yes, fitzpatrickpainting.com.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay, so great. And Kris, we appreciate you. Thanks so much. We're going to say goodbye for today. Thank you for coming on. You're a blessing.
Thanks, guys.
Goodbye, everyone.
All right, Scott, another week. It's amazing. I'm so thankful for you. Have a blessed week, my friend.
See you soon.
Thank you for tuning in to The Experience Local with Russ and Scott. Listen to the program on Spotify or wherever you listen to fine podcasts. Join in every Monday live at 9 a.m. Pacific on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. We look forward to seeing you next time on The Experience Local with Russ and Scott.